Nobody even liked your story, so it's not like it could have been worth it. It didn't even get you out of financial trouble. You gained nothing, but you made me a joke. You made my dreams and ambitions seem so ugly when it was all I had. I consisted of my ambitions, you Why am I even taking these? They're from Japan. I got them, then Betty Bacall did, and everyone said hers were prettier. Your story cast its spell and took away everything I had.
Throw it. Throw the dish at me. At me, at Cleo, at Bacall, and everyone. But for Christ's sake, you've got to get rid of this anger. Throw it!
It's worth a fortune.
Wow, that was a clip from the season finale of the show Feud, Capote versus the Swans, which airs tonight on FX. This season is based on the true story of writer Truman Capote's relationship with 6 New York socialites who Capote wrote about in a thinly veiled work of fiction, betraying their confidence and exposing the most private details of their lives to the public. Joining us now, one of the show's co-stars, Oscar, Emmy, and Golden Globe nominated actress Diane Lane, who plays socialite Slim Keith. And you're so good. Oh my gosh, you're so mean. So mean and so cold. Oh my God. Oh, yes. He did. He did. But you kept going. Like, you can't let go, Slim.
Well, I have to say, in this finale, which we just saw a clip from, I mean, this is the fantasy version of what his amends to each character would have been. And I do say character because even though these are real women that we are bringing to the screen in many theories, you know, as Capote was famously quoted as saying, he's not going to let truth get in the way of a good story, which, you know, tells a lot about our times as well. So it's a timely story in some ways.
It's so amazing. I've loved every bit of it. Tell us what we learned about Truman Capote, but also I think each of these women with their foibles and their stories that he tells and exposes, but they also are so vulnerable in each in a very different way. Can you tell us maybe about your character and a few others?
Well, the situation that you see her be so upset about is that Lady Ina Coolberth, the character that he named her as in his fictitious accounting of these women, which was pretty darn close to the bone, being called fiction. You know, he put his words in her mouth as though she were the one who was ratting everybody's secrets out. And I think that was... she was smart, and she knew not to trust him with her personal secrets. So I have a feeling she might have enjoyed the gossip dish, though. Like, she might participate. And so I think he busted her on that. That's my personal theory.
Interesting.
Maybe.
I'm going to read from the part of the New York Times obit of Slim Keith when she passed away back in 1990. And Willie, it reads in part this: she grew up to be the kind of beauty that was sought after in Hollywood, although she never appeared in films. In 1941, Gary Cooper gave her away when she married Howard Hawks. In 1946, 150 fashion editors and stylists named Slim the best dressed woman of the year. The runner-up was the Duchess of Windsor. At the time, Keith was quoted as saying, "I have a tall, skinny frame that clothes look well on." Seriously, just say that I'm a great believer in simplicity in clothes. Fabulous. Willie Geist.
Diane, people, I was just saying, you are obsessed with this show. And I don't use that word lightly.
How great is that?
They can't get enough of it. They want to talk about it immediately.
They want there to be another whole season.
They want another season. I think you're on the hook for that, if that's even possible. For people who haven't seen the series yet, can we just talk broadly about who these women are, how they exist in New York society, and where they come from? Because they are such, each of them, unique, extraordinary women.
Well, some came from wealth. Some were born into it, of course. ZZ Guest, very famous blue blood Bostonian family, whereas someone like Slim came from rather humble beginnings and a controversial background with some woundings. I mean, everybody has their core wounds, and Truman knows how to get to them and get people to confess them to him, because he sort of dined out on his personal wounds, if you will, and so he conjured forth other people to share theirs. And, you know, I did very much enjoy Slim Keith's book. You know, her name, she was born Nancy Gross, and she came from Salinas, California, and she was familiar with having to make very, very tough decisions about cutting people off in your life because of the basic story that happened with her father asking her to choose between the classic, which you're never supposed to do, where a parent says, choose between me and your other parent. That's what her father did. And she said, no, I'm cutting you off. It's going to be Mom. And she didn't really speak to her dad again until almost the end of his life.
The question that hangs over this entire series is Truman Capote got so close to these women. They so confided in him, and he and they.
Yes.
Why did he do it? Why did he write this book and out all of them?
I think we're all obsessed with the question. Who would do that? Why would you do that? It's almost like jumping into a volcano. Why would you volunteer for that? Why would you subject yourself to that judgment of being that unfaithful, if you will, to the oath of what a friendship is that you have some sacred ground between you that, you know, is trusted, that you're going to share, you're going to dish, you're going to speak your truth in quiet tones. Because these women all had what I call a moat around them of who's in and who's out. So they let a drawbridge across, and somebody could cross over and be included for a moment. And I think Truman knew that he was only a guest in their world. And I think he resented that. I think he wanted to be a true, in deep friend. And I don't know if he ever really felt as accepted as he wanted to. I'm not sure.
So Diane, what drew to the role? But more than that, how much fun is it to play that character in those settings against those other actors?
Well, we did have a wonderful time being ladies together. You don't get to see groups of women often enough, I think, in shows and films. And so I'm delighted that we got to have time together as artists, as women, and representing. Remember the era when they wore gloves and hats? Yeah. And it's just such a delicious time when clothes were made in a different way with a different intent. They weren't mass produced in the way they are today. So, I don't know, fashion meant more. Things just, it's a different framing of the world. And it's nice to remember that where we come from, because people forget. We get so taken up with the speed with which things happen now, rather than the quality of experience is a little different.
Talk about that group of women. For people who haven't seen the show, how's this for a lineup? Diane Lane, Naomi Watts, Chloe Sevigny, Demi Moore, Callista Flockhart, and Molly Ringwald. I mean, come on.
You just can't.
Let's take another clip here where Diane's character finally does reach her breaking point with Truman Capote.
I saw you come out of the Whitney. Stop. Please, would you? What's on at the Whitney? Is it the Claes Oldenburg giant ice pack sculpture?
I met a girlfriend for soup in the cafeteria. Who has time for art now? What is it you want?
To be able to talk again.
Talk? Are you insane? Why didn't you think of that before you turned me into Lady Coolberth, that person I am now?
Ow. Ow. And then the venom from his deadly snake bite finally just drained out of her, and what was left was a lingering, sorrowful anger commingled with a yearning and a bone-deep exhaustion.
Of course, the one name I failed to mention there, Tom Hollander, as Truman Capote, who's just incredible.
Tour de force.
Incredible.
Indelible performance.
You've done it all. You've done movies. You slipped in the word unfaithful previously, I noticed. Oscar nominated for Best Actress for that great movie. How much fun are these series? Like a little bit shorter even, 8 episodes, intense.
It's a different business model. I mean, you don't get to read all of the scripts, so you're not entirely sure what cards you're going to be holding, and you're supposed to play the game. And so you sort of go, what do you mean my character does what? and you call my agent. No.
Too late. You're already in.
I know. But I got to work with the wonderful Treat Williams, and I just want to give him and his family a shout out because this was his last project, and it was just very moving. And his work, it was the apex of his career, and he was a joy and ball of sunshine.
Very good of you to mention him. So people are going to be glued to their TVs tonight. The season finale of Feud, Capote versus the Swans, airs tonight on FX. You can stream the whole season if you haven't started yet on Hulu. That begins tomorrow. It's a can't-miss series finale tonight. Diane Lane, always so good to see you.
Thank you for having me. So
Congrats.
nice to spend the morning with you.
Good to see you again.